In this program, we put together a very structured way to run investor meetings essentially based on sales. Because an investor meeting it's a sales meeting in a lot of ways. It's also, you consider it like a date. One of our mentors is like, I used to think fundraising was sales, now I think it's dating. But whether it's dating or sales, there's kind of predictable stages of an investor meeting. And I just want to show you guys this so you know that we have content on this. So at the highest level, the stages are: you engage the person by getting their attention, then you enroll them by transferring excitement and handling objections, and then you compel or close on your opportunity. So a lot of people will either struggle on one of these, like maybe they're good at enrolling and compelling, but they're just not good at engaging, so they don't ever have any meetings. Or maybe they're great at engaging and enrolling, but they don't ever close because they just don't really know how to close the deal. And then breaking this down into a little bit more detail, there's like some more nuance that you can take on here. You engage, then you build rapport. That should always be the first thing you do, which is like small talk. Where do you live? How are your kids? What's the weather like? There's a point of building that connection, finding common ground. Then the next stage is qualifying. So you asking questions like, how often do you invest in startups? What's your normal check size? What's your process? And that all helps you closing at the end of the meeting. And then you enroll by transferring excitement, which we'll talk about in a minute in terms of a presentation. Then you're handling objections. And you can feel when somebody goes into the objection stage, because they're no longer asking you like questions about what is it that you're doing. They're asking you questions about like, well, what about how are you going to you said you're going to get customers this way, but that doesn't make sense to me because XYZ. So it's like an objection instead of a question that's based around them understanding better what you're doing. So then you'll handle the objections, and then you'll start to test close. And my favorite test close is, if you were going to invest, how much would you want to invest? It's an amazing test close because it leaves it conditional, and it allows the investor to think and be like, they'll either say, well, I'm not at that point yet. I still want to know more about the product. So then okay, we're back in objections. Let's handle some objections. Then again, okay, great. So I think I've answered your questions. Now knowing what you know now, if you were going to invest, how much would you want to invest? And then if they've got no more objections, they might say, $50,000, or, we write checks for $1 million or whatever it is. And so the test close is a way to tell if there's more objections, because you're going to either get the answer like 50K, or you're going to get an objection. And then if they say, man, normally 50K, if it's an angel, then you can say, great. Is there anything else you'd need to make that commitment and jump into this round? And then they might say, nope. And be like, okay, great. Welcome aboard. I'll send you the docs on Friday. It's going to be fun working together and building something awesome. And so it's just this really smooth way to get people from the enroll stage to handling objections to test closing to closing. And nobody taught me this, but it would have been super useful if somebody had. So hopefully it'll be useful for y'all. This is, breaking down in more detail exactly what each stage is about, some things you could say in each of those stages. We've had founders print this out, stick it on the wall, so then they're doing investor meetings, they can look up and be like, okay, I'm in enroll, I got to transfer excitement. Okay, I'm in handling objections, I need to align, present, and redirect with a question, et cetera, et cetera. So this will be a good cheat sheet. Then we also have this little tutorial on how to handle objections. So you want to align with the objection. You never want to disagree with the investor. They're like, I think your market's too small. You don't want to say you're wrong. You want to say, if they say, I think your market's too small, you say something like, you know what? I thought the same thing. But then I did some research on this, and you know what I found? Boom, boom, boom. They'll be like, no, what? You'd be like, well, it was too small 5 years ago, but it's growing at 20% a year. So in 5 years, it's going to be one of the biggest markets in the world, or whatever that is. So there's a yoga to handling objections. This is all from sales. And so that's 7 steps to an investor meeting, also called anatomy of an investor meeting.